up, everybody? Welcome into Tom Curran's Patriots Talk podcast. You could not have scripted a better coming out party for the Patriots and specifically Drake Maye. Sunday night football rolls around. There's only one unbeaten team left in the NFL. It's the Bills. They have the best quarterback in the game, the reigning MVP, a player to whom Drake Maye has been loosely compared, Josh Allen. It's the first time in prime time for Drake Maye. And it's not just Monday or Thursday night. It's Sunday night football on NBC. And there was a void, Phil, a vacancy in the conversation. Joe Burrow's hurt. Everybody knows everything about Patrick Mahomes. Everybody knows everything about Josh Allen. Lamar Jackson's hurt. Justin Herbert, I don't know if that train's ever coming in. Drake Maye's performance fills the void of content. The yawning maw that needs to be fed, Phil. Content, content, content. You will have Drake Maye content to your heart's content. You might remember the Boston sports guy, Bill Simmons. He's gone on to bigger things since. But here he was Monday talking about Drake Maye from The Ringer.
We had Brady for 2 decades. Before that, we didn't really ever have anybody. And then we hit that bleak, you don't have a quarterback stage at things again. And then you have all these dudes, and Mac Jones turned out to be disappointing. I'm glad he's found himself a little in San Francisco. And Cam Newton and Hoyer's in there, all the Zappy, all these dudes. And you start to wonder, like, how many years are we just not going to have a quarterback? Like, if you're the Raiders right now, if you're the Browns, sometimes this could be 2-3 decades. And they have a guy. And so they beat Buffalo, but more importantly, like, they have a guy. They know they have a guy. And there's only 10 of them, and they have one of them.
And no, it didn't stop there. Here's well-regarded, but the youngish-looking Ben Solak.
I want to talk about some of these throws from Drake Maye last night, some of these decisions, some of this arm talent, some of this field vision. It was the best game of his career. He was so good against the Bills in such a key moment on the road. Delightful.
Celebrated football expert and aficionado Mina Kimes says, Drake Maye's been awesome for weeks now, but this felt like it was his first big moment on the national stage. Tremendous playmaking, accuracy, decision-making. What a complete performance. And the pièce de résistance came from Greg Olsen. Speaking to Dave Portnoy from Barstool Sports. Hit it, Greg.
I'm not surprised he's doing so well. I mean, last night he looked like he's going to be the best quarterback in the league. I mean, he's that good against that team. He's everything you want a young quarterback coming into the league in today's world. Play from the pocket, play outside the pocket, play scramble drill, design runs, scramble runs. He checks every box. He was arguably the best player on the field against the MVP. I mean, he was that good.
Phil Perry, we welcome you in right now, and it looks like the conversation around the New England Patriots just got changed. They're not a team on the make. They're not a team on the rise. They're not a team on the come. They're a team that is here.
I'm not going that far, and I don't think all those people are going that far either. You're trying to drum up what they're saying. I see what you're doing here. I see it. I see it. I see it from 1,000 miles away. However, I will say this. It is a worthy conversation. If we're talking about, are the Patriots here, and are they here to stay? Are they back? They're probably not back to where they were once before, because that's what the word back implies. But they are back in the conversation to be a postseason team. Drake Maye is in the conversation as one of the best quarterbacks in football in 2025, 5 weeks in. All of that stuff is fair game, like it or not, Mr. Tom E. I Hate Fun Curran.
Wait till you strap in and see the power rankings later this week. They usually come out on Tuesdays. Woo! There could be some top 10 Patriots power rankings. They've been residing around 28. My question, though, is this, Phil, and you kind of asked Mike Vrabel about it on Monday. How does Vrabel keep it in check while embracing what they accomplished? Because it was a big accomplishment, but you can appreciate it, but you don't luxuriate in it.
Yeah, Tom, nobody knows better than Mike Vrabel that they need to move on from this quickly. But I did ask him on Monday if this maybe helps him at all, if it helps his message resonate with players, if it helps the level of buy-in that he's receiving as a new head coach. Here's what he had to say.
Just trying to show them, I think, what they're capable of doing when we can do it together in all three phases and play up to our identity, because it wasn't great. I thought we played really hard. I thought we flew around on defense. I thought we tried to hammer the football out. Sometimes we did, sometimes we didn't. They made some plays. But I thought we have, even offensively, a lot of room to grow. Special teams-wise, we didn't have the impact that we maybe we're used to the previous weeks or some of the phases. So I think that, we continue to show them those things and what we need to improve, the things that we do well. I do think that they are trying to uphold the style of play that we want to play with. And then it's every week is a challenge, and then we'll move on and, we'll prepare to go down and play the Saints that are coming off a huge win at home. And, that's where we're at.
So that's obviously a determined Mike Vrabel. That's a Mike Vrabel who I think is confident in terms of where his team is at right now. And he went on to say, listen, I'm not necessarily worried about buy-in. Guys are trying, which comes with winning. And so with these games that are coming up on the schedule after reaching the highest of highs that it felt like they were experiencing in that visitors' locker room in Orchard Park, New York on Sunday night, how do you go into a place like New Orleans with a not-so-great football team and continue to play these teams that are just not on the Bills' level and keep that level where Mike Vrabel wants it? I think he's got a pretty good idea of how to do that.
Yeah, and what is interesting, Mike can point to games and teams who bumped up against the Patriots in the early part of the 2000s. For instance, the San Diego Chargers, thank God I can actually use that term right now because they were in San Diego. They came here in 2005 and they mollywomped the Patriots. And I remember Wade Phillips, who was an assistant at the time, walking to the tunnel, goes, "That's some ass whipping right there." And then Marty Schottenheimer said, well, they had a lot of injuries. And then Brady took up and said, don't talk about the other team. Anyway, by 2006, the Patriots were breaking the Chargers' heart in the playoffs. By 2007, they were beating the Chargers in the AFC Championship game. The Dragons aren't all slain. And I know that the Patriots don't think that. But I have seen so many teams celebrate the way the Patriots were able to in Buffalo. What do they do with it will be really interesting to see. And one of the things that emerged from the game was the myriad Drake Maye takes. But there's one from Cam Newton on First Take on Monday morning that I really liked. Cam Newton on managing the game.
Drake Maye did an unbelievable job with managing the game. And I said it, managing the game. Every quarterback needs to assemble that key in order to be effective.
Phil, we've talked about it a million times. It still needs to be restated, though. Game manager means not just sitting there with 10-2, but doing what the right thing at the right time is. Whether it is, as you're being hauled down, deciding to try and make a play, because maybe you do have to try and throw a knockout punch when you're on the road. But this was a step for Drake Maye to take. You can say he's been brilliant, as Mina did, for weeks, but that's been more every other week. But the national media doing a flyover doesn't see the little mistakes that needed cleaning up, which Maye did. And he didn't just clean them up against the Titans or the Browns. He cleaned them up on the road in Buffalo.
Yeah, I think the mistakes that he made going into Buffalo were, you call them little mistakes, I think, because you're trying to make sure that the people know that you don't think they are cataclysmic errors and that they couldn't be fixed, which obviously they were in Buffalo. But I felt like his mistakes were few and far between, and they were turnovers. So they were big mistakes. The mistakes
I didn't. Dumb. The timing and nature of them was what drove me nuts.
I thought the mistakes that we might see from Drake Maye in year two in a new offense would be truly little things, like getting in and out of the huddle and having trouble with that, having guys aligned in bad spots and him not realizing that he has to move people in certain places. Management of the clock. And I think that's what Cam Newton's getting at when he talks about game management in Buffalo. When to throw it away and when not to. The last offensive play of the game for the Patriots was a really smart play by Drake Maye that goes in the books as a sack. But he wanted to run clock. He did not want to throw it away. He had nowhere to go with the football. He gets back to the line of scrimmage, so they don't actually technically lose any yardage for his kicker. But the clock is running so that Josh Allen doesn't have more time to be able to make some sort of miraculous comeback attempt. So those little things, I'm stunned by how on top of it he is. It's the turnovers really that have been his bugaboo this year. And when he doesn't have any, we see they can beat, it looks like, just about any team.
It's funny you point that out because the absence of those idiotic substitution mistakes, delay of games, and it's not like they haven't had any. It's not like they haven't had any false starts. And we didn't just suddenly get amnesia about what happened for the month of September because they won in Buffalo. There were those occasions. But to me, this win has different value if you're evaluating the team and like not just sitting there saying, "Go Patriots!" Like, how good can they be? This win has a different value for me instead of him being a superhero all night and going 38 for 54 with 4 touchdowns and a pick, because he had to be responsible. He couldn't just go out there and, I'm just going to go bananas. We're going to have a shootout. So to me, there's specific value in that. And I don't even know if he has the personnel for a shootout. I don't think he can get in a shootout. I mean, he could score points, but you can't. They're not going up and down the field on people.
I felt like that second half was kind of shootout-y, Tom.
Okay.
You're going down the field. You're going
I
down,
see you.
You're going down the field, down the middle of the field to Hunter Henry. You're going to the honey hole across the field from the left hash to the right boundary with the game on the line. You're putting it down the field to almost 32-year-old Stefon Diggs on a scramble drill play where you only have 2 guys in the route, and you're max protecting with 8, and the defense is changing the picture on you, and they're bringing pressure, and he goes and somehow just turns nothing into something, and not just something, but an explosive something.
Sometimes we have a separation between definitions of things. I'm not saying those weren't big chunk plays. I feel like a shootout's that game between Kansas City and the Rams a few years ago, 51-45. Just up and down. Defenses have no shot.
You very rarely see that anymore.
So
You're right about that.
20.
But when you do the finger guns, I feel like Drake Maye's kind of doing that at times. And he's refusing to
No one's going to be afraid of these guns.
take the most simple play because he wants to be aggressive. It's in his nature, it's in his DNA to be aggressive. And the fact that he has been able to now, in their 3 wins, be able to manage that aggression while also not making mistakes, because this team and the team around him, specifically the talent around him, is leaving their entire team with such a thin margin for error that he almost has to kind of play mistake-free, especially against good teams, while also mixing in the aggressive stuff for them to win. And he's done it in 3 of 5 weeks through his second season in a new offense, and that to me is why Patriots fans should be as excited as they are and talking about this guy in the terms that they are.
So the only superhero-y type of play, the only cape play, I think, was the throw to Diggs to start the final drive. I shunned fun. Okay? I enjoyed the play to Diggs. But it was a risky precedent, Phil. Here's how Mike Vrabel saw it.
You had the chance to either watch it back or even in real time. What did you see on the pass from Drake Maye to Diggs where he was like being half falling over as he got the ball out? Just what did you see on that play?
Oh my gosh. We made it. It was an 8-yard loss to a 12-yard gain. He's continuing to grow and gain confidence and show everybody and show his team and himself the ability to operate in the pocket, ability to operate in scheduled move the pocket plays, and then also off schedule. So putting the ball in good locations and only not throwing behind guys and going on the move and putting the ball in harm's way.
All right, there's Mike Vrabel. Phil, it could have been an 8-yard loss, but it turned into a 12-yard gain. It also could have been a pick, a game-sealing pick, because Buffalo would have been 1st and 10 at the 40, all right? Okay? I'm very worried about them. It's like you leave the house, you better have on clean underwear, because if you get in an accident, do you want people to see you with dirty underwear? I'm very worried about Drake Maye. Maybe it's my age.
Speaking of dirty underwear, it sounds like you got a dump in your pants right now, my friend. I mean, you're talking about the play of the game, the kid's play of his career, and you're saying that he shouldn't have done it because you got to make the – you know what it is?
What?
You're a beaten man.
What?
You're a beaten man. You just – for many years, you listen to Bill Belichick, and rightfully so, and you listen to Tom Brady about not turning the football over, and he's the one guy who was able to play the way he played and win as much as he did because he was that good. Most other guys have to take those kinds of risks. to go out and you got to win the game. You can't not lose it. I had such a problem with that philosophy, and I still do.
Mm-hmm.
Because Tom Brady, in his role now as a media person, he still espouses this philosophy as a good one. You got to first not lose the game. And I get it. Of course, you can't turn it over 5 times. He could point me to week 3 for the Patriots and the fact that they blew it against the Steelers. They lost that game. Got it. Against good teams, you got to go win the thing. You got to be aggressive. You got to show some urgency. You got to go make a play. You can't wait for the other guys to screw it up. What kind of cowardly philosophy is that? Go take the thing. Drake Maye's going and he's taking it. And he's causing people potentially to mess themselves in the process. But that's okay. There's going to be a few messes on the way to wins for the New England Patriots in 2025 and beyond.
You know, Phil, you're making sense. Did David sit there and say, what if I just wing the side of Goliath's head? I'm going to get stomped like an ant. No, he didn't do that. He took the puncher's chance. He said, I'm the underdog here. I'm going to throw this thing right in his eye. He did. Drake Maye was David. His right arm was a slingshot. No, yeah, and the football was the rock. And Stefon Diggs was the guy who caught the rock. But the Bills were slain, the Goliath of the AFC East. All right.
Hey, and another thing, hold on. Can I just, one more thing?
What?
There was more than one superhuman play.
Okay.
You
they're
noted
not
the one.
super friggin' human.
The rollout throw to Stefon Diggs for 32 yards.
Great.
One play later, Ramondre Stevenson's in the end zone.
Okay.
On the move, where he put that football.
David
where
Carr
only,
could do that.
Where only his guy could get it. That's another one. And I'm pointing to
They're
the
great
Kayshawn Boutte throw to win them the game, essentially, was another. So there's at least 3 there.
They're not superhuman. Every player in the league should be doing that, not Mac Jones. But to me, it's the consistency with which he did them.
There's not that many players in the league who can do that.
Before people get mad, and I don't blame them if they do, because I sound like I'm, peeing in the cornflakes. I'm just saying that the consistency with which he is making these plays, because anybody can get lucky, but he's consistently making the plays, Phil, which is good.
It is good.
Or he did it in that particular game.
It is good, and he is
We're still waiting.
Good enough to the point now where we can say he's elevating the group around them. They probably shouldn't. If you just looked at the talent and you didn't know who they had a quarterback, and you said, give this team a league average quarterback, how many wins would they have through 5 games? How many wins do you think they would have through 5 games with a league average quarterback? 1, 2, maybe 2. I'd say Carolina probably. And then after that, I don't know. I mean, they almost lost. They were 2 inches away from losing to the Dolphins on the road.
Oh my God, I know. All right, hey, we'll be back in a second.
Now, you bring up Drake Maye, but is it Drake? Or is it Stefon Diggs?
That too.
That was Cam Newton. That was First Take. That's Phil. I'm Tom. So, Phil, is it Drake or is it Stefon Diggs? What is this relationship right now morphing into? Second in the league right now, meanwhile, Diggs is among guys with 15 catches or more in terms of reception percentage. Amon-Ra St. Brown at 85.4, Diggs at 85.3. He's caught 29 of the 34 balls directed his way. What say you on the relationship?
And that percentage should be even higher. Had a drop early in that game. That was I think the lone target that was not a productive one for the Patriots. He was targeted on another throw. I don't know if you get credit for this target. I should know this in the official box score. But he had that critical defensive pass interference that he drew in the end zone, which put them right on the doorstep at the end of the first half. This relationship is clearly, the chemistry there is clearly blossoming. When you're on the field for 30 snaps total and you get 12 targets, that is indicative of a quarterback who trusts that particular receiver.
We're going to get to the is Drake Maye too reliant on Stefon Diggs conversation.
It's working right now.
Anytime.
That might happen if he somehow has a game where it's 4 for 12 and not 10 for 12 catches and targets, and it's 40 yards instead of 140 yards, then we'll have that conversation. But we're not there yet. It's 2 weeks in a row, 100-plus yards. And, Tom, to me, the most encouraging thing about that Stefon Diggs game was that he looked healthier than he's looked. He's creating yards after the catch. Almost 50% of his yards came after the catch on Sunday night. He did not look like a yak machine in camp. He did not look like a yak machine early this season. But the ability to pick up yards on those shorter throws and turn them into explosive gains is huge for a team that is lacking in explosive offensive talent.
One thing that's ironic is Drake Maye and Stefon Diggs reach a different height going to Buffalo, where the last time Diggs was there was the last time he and Josh Allen played together. And that game, I think Stefon Diggs was screaming at Josh Allen in a playoff game on the sidelines. Is this a changed Stefon Diggs that you say, I'm glad that he's part of Drake Maye's present?
Oh, you have to be happy about it right now, because if he wasn't here, who would be that guy for him? Early in the season, clearly, Hunter Henry felt like his most dependable option, and I still would put him very high on the list. But now to have another player, and at that wide receiver position, who can give you what Diggs has given you, it really is, Tom, it's much closer to, at least these last two games, what Diggs is giving Drake Maye is much closer to what he gave Josh Allen in Josh Allen's third year to help take Josh Allen from one of the worst starting quarterbacks in football to one of the best very, very quickly. It's much closer to that than anyone anticipated, the Patriots organization included. They were not expecting to get old Stefon Diggs, 1,000 yards, true number one, difference-making type of guy in the number one receiver sense of the word. Difference maker in terms of being dependable and being useful and being good, for sure. That's why they paid him all that money. But 150 some odd yards in 250 some odd yards in the last two games, I don't think that was a pace they were anticipating.
I wonder if a healthy Diggs would have been their first choice, because the Patriots were adamant about wanting to make sure that Drake Maye was surrounded by the right support system and teammates. That's why Joe Milton's someplace else. Probably helpful as to why Jalen Polk is someplace else. The Patriots have made Drake Maye and developing him the number one. He's their fair-haired boy. They're going to do anything to help young Drake along. Here's some names, though. T. Higgins, Chris Godwin, Calvin Ridley, Brandon Ayuk, DeAndre Hopkins, Devontae Adams, Jacoby Myers, Cooper Kupp, A.J. Brown, DK Metcalf. You can't always get what you want, Phil. The Kinks sang about this, but if you try sometimes, you just might find you get what you need.
I'm pretty sure that wasn't the Kinks. Initially, at least.
No, it wasn't the Kinks.
It wasn't the Kinks. No. Listen, you're the music guy here. He is what they need. They need him right now, and they need him to stay healthy. They need to.
But isn't it funny?
Quite honestly,
like all these guys that we'd spend early edition of Boston Sports, and I go, oh my God, Brandon Ayuk doesn't want to come here, and they found a guy. Brandon Ayuk isn't playing right now. Friggin'
Chris
Godwin hasn't
banged
played.
up, and they made an incredible push to sign him.
It's just funny how stuff goes, folks.
Do they have to manage his snaps a little bit more, you think? Not manage his snaps, but maybe even manage his targets? Like, are you at all worried that he is being used almost too much? You want him for the stretch run, don't you?
I'd like to see them develop a secondary receiver whose name is not Hunter Henry. I think Booty's a very reliable pass catcher. Didn't like a couple of the penalties last night, Sunday night, excuse me. But I think that this is where you miss Kendrick Bourne a little bit, a tiny bit. And I don't think Demario Douglas is on the cusp of a breakthrough. It seems like the bus has left the station and it's going in a different direction. I'm not saying he's getting released, but it seems like the destination they're heading to right now does not have Demario Douglas, significant contributor, printed on the side.
The one guy you'd love to become that guy is Kyle Williams.
Good point.
Third-round rookie, somebody that could grow with Drake Maye. They had him out there. He was the other guy running routes alongside Stefon Diggs in that two-man route concept where Diggs ends up catching that bomb down the right sideline. So they're trying to get him out there. They're trying to get him involved in some explosive plays, potentially. It's just he's not out there enough to be considered a key piece just yet.
Two more quick observations before we let you guys go. The youth, as pointed out by Mike Vrabel in his press conference was well served on Sunday night. Rookies and second-year players, and I think that Mike related a story that his dad mentioned it to him.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great point. Campbell, Wilson, May, Borregales, Craig Woodson, and guys who are new to the program, guys who decided to come here or were drafted here, they have none of the taint of the last 2 years. They're realizing something that they built, and that has to make a big impact.
I agree. And I asked, Carlton Davis about just how few guys in that locker room. He's one of the guys who's won at a high level. He and Milton Williams. I asked him if he feels as though this team, even though it's early, has shown him characteristics of a winning at a high level potentially kind of group. And he says he does, and he doesn't want to make comparisons, and he was very careful, and his voice even dropped a few notches on the volume meter there. It was like he didn't want to get in trouble from Mike Vrabel, so he almost started whispering into the microphone. I don't want to make a lot of comparisons, but I like what we have. He clearly sees something in this group, and for it to be a group that is so loaded with youth, and for somebody who has won a Super Bowl to be able to still look at this team and say, we could be going somewhere, to me says a lot about those young guys especially.
The somewhere that they are going, is it the wild card? Is it challenging? Now they get the tiebreaker over the Bills for the AFC East divisional title. Is it playoffs? Is it deep in the playoffs? Is it outside the playoffs? We don't know, but we're happy you're along with us for the ride. We're getting ready for the Saints for the rest of the week, okay? So we'll talk to you later.